Hey, I'm God, I'm a freelance colorist, DCTL developer and certified DaVinci Resolve trainer, and I have a new Filmic Contrast DCTL to show you. This one is kind of similar to the contrast I have released many months ago, but it has an adjustable black point, white point, shoulder and toe curves, in addition to a few other features. So let's head over to DaVinci Resolve and see how this one works. So, as usual, I've set up node-based color management, going from RE white gamut free, Loxy free to the intermediate grading space or working space, DaVinci white gamut intermediate, and at the very end going from there to Rec 709, 2.4, that being the color space of my reference display. I have also done some corrections for the image to be neutral. And here, node number 4 has the DCTL setup. As of recording this video, we're on version 1.2.1. This may of course be different when you're watching the video. So when using this tool, the first thing you should check is the transfer function. Resolve calls this gamma, but the correct technical term is transfer function. In this case, it's DaVinci intermediate. Then I'll check monochrome, which will make the image black and white, so that the colors won't distract us while designing our contrast curve. And finally, to see what's going on under the hood, I'll check Show Curves. The diagonal curve is our main contrast slider, this being just a simple linear contrast. Then the middle vertical line is the relative pivot. This changes the pivot point of the contrast curve from that of middle gray, which is automatically set when you select the transfer function. Then we have Push and Pull, which is a simple exposure adjustment performed after the linear contrast, but before applying black point, white point, toe and shoulder. This is so if the contrast darkens your image, you can push it a bit brighter, or vice versa. If the contrast makes it feel too bright, you can darken it down. Then we have black point, which when you start lifting, will bring up the black point of the image. And you can adjust how much of the area underneath middle gray is being used for this curve with the toe slider. This allows you to have an S-curve, but with a linear middle part that isn't touched at all. Then we have very similar controls for the white point, which allows you to bring down the white point of the image, and also the shoulder control, which allows you to change how much of the curve is affected by the shoulder. Finally, we have the saturation mix slider. To see what this does, I'll uncheck monochrome and the show curves. The saturation mix allows you to choose how much the contrast affects saturation. To exaggerate the effect, I'll increase contrast to the maximum, and now you can see that when the saturation mix is set to 0, the image is less saturated, and when it's set to 1, it's more saturated. There's also a shortcut to set the saturation mix to 0, that being the preserve saturation. I have also included a show ramp option, so you can monitor what the contrast is doing in your scopes. Well, there you go. As always, there's links down below to get this DCTL or the demo pack so you can try it out before buying. See you next time.